In the previous lecture, we started to discuss about zone plate. So we discussed how do we construct a zone plate and what is the purpose of zone plate. So the main purpose of a zone plate is to focus the light which is falling on it. And zone plate, it uses the concept of Fresnel's half period zones. So here I have taken an observation point O which is at a distance of x. So these are the points capital M, M1, M2, M3, M4. These all points, they represent a point on the various Fresnel's half period zones. So the distance from M to M1 point. So this M1 distance, it is the radius of the first Fresnel half period zone. Then the distance M1, M2. This distance, it represents the thickness of the second half period zone. Then M2, M3 distance, it represents the thickness of the third half period zone, and so on. So these points M1, M2, M3, these are marked on the exposed part of the wavefront. So these are marked in such a manner that the first point M1, it is at a distance of x plus lambda by 2 from this observation point. Then M2 point is marked such that its distance from the observation point is x plus 2 lambda by 2. Similarly, M3 point is marked so that this distance from the observation points, that is M3O distance, it is x plus 3 lambda by 2, and so on. So these points, these are marked on the exposed part of the wavefront, and using the concept of the Fresnel half period zone, we constructed a zone plate. And what is the construction? So in the case of a zone plate, every alternate zone, it is painted black. So let's say in this case, if you paint this region, M1, M2 region, so we will have concentric circles. Fresnel's half period zones, they are in the form of circles. So there will be circles. So those will be concentric circles. So first of all, you will paint the M1, M2 distance. So the circle, the annular region which is covering between M1, M2, so that region is painted black. Then let's say M3, M4 region, the whole annular region will be painted black. So every alternate Fresnel half period zone is painted black. So you can either paint the first half period zone, then you paint the third half period zone as black, then fifth half period zone is painted black. So that type of zone plate will be called as a negative zone plate. Then if you paint the second half period zone as black, then fourth half period zone as black, then sixth half period zone is painted as black. So that kind of zone plate will be called as a positive zone plate. So that we have already discussed in the previous lecture. Now here I have not painted any zone as black. So the whole wavefront which is falling, the whole light which is falling on this structure, it will pass through it. So no light will be obstructed. So whole light will pass through, and at this observation point, all the lights will be reaching at this point. So we will get a resultant amplitude of the light at this point, at this observation point O. So resultant amplitude of all the lights which are coming from these Fresnel half period zone, it is given by capital E. So it is the resultant amplitude at O when all the zones are transparent to light. So no zone has been painted black yet. So when all the zones are transparent to light, then the resultant amplitude at O will be given by E1. So E1 is the amplitude of the light coming from the first zone. Then minus E2. Minus E2, it is the amplitude of the light which is coming from the second half period zone. So amplitude of the light which is reaching at O point from the second half period zone is given by E2. Similarly, we have plus E3 minus E4. So every alternate amplitude will have opposite sign. So first you have plus E1, then you have minus E2, then plus E3 minus E4, and so on. This last term which is the nth zone. So when this n, it is odd. So when this n is odd, you will get the last term, you will get plus En, and when the number of half period zone is even, then you get minus En in the last position. So this is the amplitude of the light when all the zones are transparent to light. So this is the resultant amplitude. So this we have already covered in the last second lecture. Now when n is very large, so there we had seen when n is very large, when the number of zones in which the exposed part of the wavefront is divided, when that number of zones is very large, in that case we had done the calculations already in the article of resultant amplitude at a point due to the light which is coming from all the zones. So in that article we had calculated when n is very large, when the number of zones they are very large, then this E it is approximately equal to E1 divided by 2. So this we have already covered in the last second lecture where we had done the various calculations of the resultant amplitude at point capital O. So there we had seen that when n is very large, then this E it will approach to E1 divided by 2. E1 is the amplitude of the light which is reaching point O from the first half period zone. So the total amplitude due to all these zones, when all these zones they are transparent to light, so light from all these zones is falling at this observation point. So when n is very large, this amplitude, resultant amplitude is approximately equal to E1 divided by 2. Now this was when all the zones they are transparent to light. But we are talking about zone plate, and in a zone plate every alternate zone is painted as black. Now let's say if even numbered zones are painted black, that is the second zone is painted black, then fourth zone is painted black, then sixth zone is painted black. So every even numbered zone is painted black. So when the second half period zone it is painted black, then there will be no factor E2. So the light which was coming from the second half period zone, it will no more reach this point O because all the light is blocked, because the second half period zone it has been painted black. So no light from this zone will reach this observation point O, that is there will be no term which will be minus E2. Similarly, there will be no term which will be minus E4, then minus E6, minus E8 and so on. So the terms which are corresponding to these zones, that is the second, fourth, sixth and so on zones, so those terms will not appear when you have painted these even numbered zones as black. So what will be the resultant amplitude at O in that case? Now when the even numbered zones they are painted black, so what will be the amplitude of the light which is reaching at O point? So that will be simply E1 will remain, E2 will not come in this case because the second half period zone it has been painted black. Then you will get plus E3, then minus E4 will not be there, then plus E5, plus E7 and so on. So you can see the amplitudes that you will get in this case when you have painted, every alternate zone has been painted as black, then the amplitudes they will just add up. There will be no subtraction term. Unlike in this case we had subtraction terms, we had minus terms along with the positive terms. But now when the alternate zones they are painted black, you can clearly see that the resultant amplitude formula, in this formula there is no negative term, all the terms are positive, that is all the amplitudes they are adding up with each other. So now when you will compare this equation, or you can say when you compare this equation, let's say this is capital A equation. So if you compare this equation with this one, so this is the amplitude, resultant amplitude at O point when all the zones are transparent to light. So in that case this amplitude is approximately equal to E1 divided by 2. Now this is the amplitude when alternate zones are painted black. So when you will compare this equation with this one, you will see that this amplitude, this resultant amplitude at O point is much less as compared to this amplitude when alternate zones are painted black. So when no zone is painted black, all the zones they are transparent to light. In that case amplitude at O point is equal to E1 by 2. Whereas when even numbered zones are painted black, the amplitude of the light which is reaching at O point is equal to summation of the amplitudes, that is E1 plus E3, E5, E7 and so on. So on comparing these two, you can clearly see that the amplitude when no zone is painted black, so that amplitude is much less as compared to this amplitude when alternate zones are painted black. So intensity when alternate zones are painted black is much greater. So when you paint the alternate zones as black, then the intensity of the light at a point O, it is much greater than when all the zones are transparent. So as compared to the case when all the zones are transparent, so intensity of the light at point O, in that case it will be much less as compared to this case when alternate zones are painted as black. So hence the zone plate, it behaves like a converging lens. So this is the concept of zone plate, that is the alternate zones, they are painted as black. Therefore, the zone plate, it acts like a converging lens. So all the amplitudes, they are adding up with each other. So intensity of the light at point O when alternate zones are painted black, so the intensity will be much higher as compared to this first case. So zone plate, it will behave like a converging lens because all amplitudes, they are adding up with each other. So you will get a sharp image over here. So you will get a sharp point over here. So that represents the zone plate behaves like a converging lens. So converging lens, it focuses the light. It makes a sharp image of the object, and in a similar manner the zone plate also focuses the light, and the concept or the working of the zone plate is shown over here. Now focal length of the zone plate. Since we have talked about that the zone plate, it behaves like a converging lens, so the zone plate, it will also have a focal length. So zone plate, it will have a focal length like the lens which has a focal length. So lens, converging lens, a convex lens, it has a focal length. Therefore, a zone plate will also have a focal length. Now, what will be the focal length of the zone plate? It will be nothing but the distance of the zone plate from the observation point, because all the light is getting focused at this point. At this point, observation point O, all the intensities, all the alternate intensities, that is E1, E3, E5, these alternate intensities, they are just getting added up. So therefore this distance will be called as the focal length of the zone plate. So focal length will be given by x. Now in the case of the Fresnel half period zone, we had seen the radius of nth zone is given by square root of n into x into lambda. So this is the formula for the radius of nth Fresnel half period zone. So from here you can take what is x. So x will be equal to, so just do the square root on both sides, you will get Rn square will be equal to nx lambda. So from this formula, x will be equal to Rn square divided by n lambda. So this will be nothing but the focal length of the zone plate. So focal length of the zone plate will be Rn square divided by n lambda, and it is represented by Fn. So this is the focal length of the zone plate. So you can see from the formula, the focal length of the zone plate, it depends upon lambda. So it depends upon wavelength. As you will increase the wavelength, the focal length of the zone plate will decrease. So from this formula, you can say the focal length of the zone plate is inversely proportional to the wavelength. So this focal length of the zone plate, it varies with the wavelength of incident light. So as you will change the wavelength of the incident light, the focal length of the zone plate will also change. Now we are going to see how the zone plate, it actually behaves like a convex lens. So we will prove it mathematically that the zone plate, it acts like a converging lens. So here we have a zone plate. So we have a point M, M1, M2, M3. So this is the zone plate which we have placed. Now the source of light. The light, it is coming from a particular source. Let's say this is a point source and this is represented by capital S. So this is the source and light from this source is falling on the zone plate, and the light it will propagate in all the directions. But we are just observing the light which is reaching this point O. So this is the observation point, and we are just interested in finding the amplitude at this point O. So the distance of the source from the zone plate is given by U. Let's say the distance of the source from the zone plate is equal to U. Then the distance of the observation point where we are getting the image of this source. So the image of this source will be obtained at this point O, and the distance of this image from the zone plate is given by V. So this distance is U and this distance is V. And these points M1, M2, M3, these are marked in such a way that M1O distance, this first length will be V plus lambda by 2. So instead of X, I have taken V over here. So in the previous articles, we have been taking the distance of the observation point from the zone plate or the Fresnel half period zones. It was taken equal to X. But now I have replaced X with V. So this distance M1O, M1 is marked in such a way that distance M1O is equal to V plus lambda by 2. Then M2O distance is equal to V plus twice of lambda by 2. And so on. M3O distance will be, this distance will be V plus 3 lambda by 2. And let's say this is the nth zone. So the point will be Mn, and MNO distance, it will be equal to V plus n lambda divided by 2. Only in this condition a maxima will be obtained at this point. Hence we can call that image of this source is obtained at this point. So this is the zone plate which we have placed. Light from this source is falling on the zone plate, and the zone plate is constructed according to this observation point. So according to this observation point, which is at a distance of V, the zone plate is constructed. So the first point will be at V plus lambda by 2. Second point of the zone plate will be at V plus 2 lambda by 2, and so on. So with respect to this observation point, we have constructed this zone plate. Now the wavelength of the light has a very small value. Now the wavelength of the light, because we are dealing with the visible light, the image of the object will be formed only when we have a visible light, and visible light, it has a very small value of wavelength. So the wavelength of light has a very small value, hence the size of the zones are very small. As you know, the radius Rn, the radius is given by square root of n x lambda. X is the distance of the observation point from the zone plate. Now here we have taken V instead of X. So radius of the nth half period zone will be nV lambda. So the radius of the nth half period zone is proportional to, it is dependent upon lambda. So lambda, it has a very small value. So it is in Armstrongs. So lambda, it has very small value. Therefore this Rn, this radius of the half period zones, they will also have a very small value. So in this diagram, the radius of the half period zones, they are shown in centimeters. So if you will measure this radius, it will be in centimeters, but in actual the radius of the zone plate is very small. The radius of the Fresnel half period zones is very, very small, and the reason is that it depends upon lambda. So according to this formula, if you will draw the zone plate, if you will draw the Fresnel half period zones, this radius, it will come out to be very, very small. So this diagram which I have drawn, it is just to make you more clear how the zone plate works. In actual, the size of the zone plate, it will be very, very small. It will not be this much big. It will be very, very small. And the reason is that the wavelength lambda which we will be using, the incident light, it will have very small wavelength. Therefore, this radius of the half period zones, it will also be very less. So the wavelength of light has a very small value, hence the size of the zones, the sizes of the zones are very small as compared to the distance of the light from the source. So these radii, this size of the zone plate will be very small as compared to this distance u. That is that as compared to the distance of the source from the zone plate, the zone plate will have a very small size as compared to the distance of the source from the zone plate. So it can be said that the light which is coming from this source, so here we are using the approximation that the distance of the source from the zone plate is very greater as compared to the size of the zone plate itself. Therefore, we can say the light which is coming from the source, it will be almost parallel. The light which is coming from the source and is falling on the zone plate, it will be almost parallel, and the reason is that the size of the zone plate will be very small as compared to the distance of the source from the zone plate. Now in this diagram, the rays, they are not appearing to be parallel, and the reason is that the zone plate that I have drawn over here, it has a radius in centimeters, and this is just to make you, this is just for your convenience that I have drawn a larger size of the zone plate, but in actual the zone plate will have a very small size. Therefore the light which will be falling on that zone plate, it will almost appear to be parallel rays. So because of this reason, the incident wavefront, the incident light may be taken as a parallel wavefront or a plane wavefront. Sorry, it will be a plane wavefront. So the lights, they will be almost, the light rays, they will be almost parallel to each other, and hence the wavefront of those parallel rays will appear to be a plane wavefront. Now this distance of the source from the zone plate is equal to Sm. Then the distance of the zone plate from the observation point, it is MO. So Sm plus MO distance will be equal to U plus V. So Sm plus MO, it will be equal to U plus V. Now this distance Sm1 plus M1O distance. Now what is M1O? It is equal to V plus lambda by 2. So M1O distance is nothing but V plus lambda by 2, and these rays, we have already said that the light rays which are incident, they will almost appear to be parallel. So Sm1 distance, it can be taken approximately equal to U. So Sm1 plus M1O. So Sm1 plus M1O, it can be taken approximately equal to U. So this Sm1 distance, it can be taken approximately equal to U, and M1O is V plus lambda by 2. So U plus V plus lambda by 2. Similarly Sm2 plus M2O. Now what is M2O? It is V plus 2 lambda by 2. So this distance, the addition of these two distances will be U. So Sm2, it can be taken approximately equal to U. So U plus V plus 2 lambda by 2. Similarly, Sm3 plus M3O will be U plus V plus 3 lambda by 2, and so on for the nth zone Smn, that is Smn plus Mno, that will be equal to U plus, that will be approximately equal to U plus V plus n lambda by 2. Now we will calculate what is this Smn distance. So this Smn distance, using the Pythagoras theorem, we will calculate this distance. So Smn distance, it is the hypotenuse of this right angle triangle. So you are taking the triangle as Mn, S and M. So this is the right angle triangle which we are taking. So we will see what will be Smn distance. So Smn will be equal to nothing but square root of base square plus perpendicular square. Now what is base square? It is Sm. So we will have Sm square plus Mmn distance square. So we have base square plus perpendicular square, and its square root will give us the length of the hypotenuse. So Sm distance is nothing but equal to U. So this will be square root of U square, and mn distance. This whole distance is nothing but the radius of the nth half period zone. This mn distance is nothing but the radius of the nth half period zone. So this can be written as Rn square. So from this, first of all, this can be written as u square plus Rn square over 1 by 2. So this can be written in this form. Now we will take u square outside. We will take u square outside. So u square can be taken outside the bracket. So when you will take u square outside, you will have to take this power along with u square. So u square power 1 by 2 will be nothing but u. So if you are taking u square outside, you have to take this power along with u square. So you will just get u square power 1 by 2 outside the bracket, and that will be nothing but equal to u. And inside the bracket you will be left with 1 plus Rn square divided by u square. So you have taken u square outside, so you will be just left with 1 plus Rn square divided by u square power 1 by 2. Now here we will use the approximation. Now we have already said that the zone plate size is very small as compared to the distance of the source from the zone plate. So the size of the plate is very less as compared to that of u. So you can say the radius of the nth half period zone is very less as compared to u. So this Rn square is very less as compared to u. So we can use the binomial expansion up to just 2 terms. So we will use the binomial expression over here. So 1 plus x power n. The binomial expansion of 1 plus x power n is approximately equal to 1 plus nx when this x is very less than 1. When this x term is very less than 1, then this 1 plus x power n, it can be taken approximately equal to 1 plus nx. So we have just taken the first 2 terms of the binomial expansion and we have neglected all other higher order terms, and the reason is that x is very less than 1. So this is only for the case when x is very less than 1. So over here we know the zone plate, its size is very less as compared to u. So Rn square will be very less as compared to u square. Therefore this term will be very less than 1. Hence we can use the binomial expansion. So Smn will be approximately equal to u into 1 plus nx. So this is 1 plus x power n. So 1 plus x power n, it can be taken approximately equal to 1 plus nx. So it will be 1 plus n into x. Now what is n? It is 1 by 2. The power is 1 by 2. So n is 1 by 2. So it will be 1 plus nx. So 1 plus n is 1 by 2 and x is Rn square divided by u square. So that will be 1 plus nx. So you can take u inside the bracket and this will be approximately, this will be equal to, you can take u inside the bracket, you will get u plus Rn square divided by 2u. So u can be taken inside the bracket. So Smn will be equal to u plus Rn square divided by 2u. So 1 u in the denominator, it will cancel with u in the numerator. So this is the expression of Smn. Similarly, we will find the expression of MNO. So MNO, we will use the same concept, that this is the hypotenuse of this right angle triangle. So MNO, it will be equal to square root of perpendicular square plus base square. So what is base? It is MO. So base square plus perpendicular square. Now what is MO? It is equal to V. So earlier MO was equal to x. In the previous articles we have been taking MO is equal to x. So here we have just replaced x with v. So MO will be x. It will be v square. So square root of v square plus MMN square. So MMN, this is nothing but Rn. So here again we will use the same concept. First of all, MNO, it will be equal to v square plus Rn square power 1 by 2. So we have taken power, this square root, as power 1 by 2. So now we will take v square outside. Earlier we had taken u square outside. So v square can be taken outside. So it will be equal to v 1 plus Rn square divided by v square power 1 by 2. Similarly, the u distance, it is much larger as compared to the size of the zone plate, hence this distance v, it will also be much larger as compared to the size of the zone plate. So this term Rn square divided by v square term, it will be very less than 1. So we can use the approximation that it will be equal to v into 1 plus nx. Now what is n? It is 1 by 2. So you will get Rn square divided by 2v square. So we can open the bracket and this will be equal to v plus Rn square divided by twice of v. So we have opened the bracket and taken v inside the bracket. So m and o will be equal to this formula. So Smn is equal to this formula. It is equal to this expression, and MNO is equal to this expression. Now the next step will be to put the expression of SMN which we have obtained and the expression of MNO which we have obtained over here. So we will put these expressions in this equation. Expression that we had, Smn plus Mno was approximately equal to u plus v plus n lambda by 2. Now the expression of Smn that we had obtained was u plus Rn square divided by twice of u. Then Mno was equal to v plus Rn square divided by twice of v. So that will be equal to right hand side. It will remain as it is. So this u, it will cancel with this u on the right hand side, and v will cancel with v on the right hand side. So you will be just left with Rn square divided by twice of u plus Rn square divided by twice of v will be equal to n lambda divided by 2. So now this 2 it will cancel on both the sides, and Rn square is common in both the terms. So Rn square, it can be taken outside the bracket. So you will be left with 1 by u plus 1 by v, that will be equal to n lambda. So this Rn square you can take on the right hand side. So 1 by u plus 1 by v will be equal to n lambda divided by Rn square. So you have taken this Rn square on the right hand side. So on the right hand side you will get n lambda divided by Rn square, and on the left hand side you will have 1 by u plus 1 by v. Now this equation, so u, it is the distance of the object from the zone plate, v is the distance of the image from the zone plate. Now if you consider the equation of a lens, if you consider the equation of a convex lens, the equation of a convex lens is 1 by u plus 1 by v is equal to 1 by f. Now this term which we had obtained, n lambda divided by Rn square. So you can check to the first page of this lecture. So there we had seen that the focal length Fn for a zone plate is equal to Rn square divided by n lambda. So in the starting of the lecture we had seen that the focal length of a zone plate is equal to Rn square divided by n lambda, and in this expression, in this equation, we have n lambda divided by Rn square, which is just the opposite of this expression. So this will be equal to 1 by Fn. So focal length of the zone plate is given by this expression, and this is just inverse of the focal length. So this term can be written as 1 by Fn. So you can say that 1 by u plus 1 by v is equal to 1 by Fn for the case of zone plate. Now if you compare the equation of a lens, the lens equation that you might be aware from the +2 class. So in the optics chapter you have done the equation of a lens, and that was 1 by u plus 1 by v is equal to 1 by f, where f was the focal length of the convex lens, u was the distance of the object from the convex lens, v was the distance of the image from the convex lens. So for the case of zone plate, we have done the whole derivation for the case of zone plate, and we have end up with this expression, this final expression. So these two expressions, they are completely similar to each other. So for the zone plate also we got this expression, and we already know for the case of a convex lens, the lens equation has this form. Therefore we say that a zone plate behaves like a converging lens of focal length Fn, which is Rn square divided by n lambda. So from this whole derivation we have concluded that the zone plate the equation that you get for the case of zone plate is completely same with that of the equation of a lens. So therefore we say that the zone plate behaves like a converging lens, or you can say a convex lens of focal length fn, which is equal to rn square divided by n lambda. So this covers the question that what is zone plate, what is the construction of a zone plate, and we have shown how a zone plate is equivalent to a convex lens. Now up to this lectures we have seen that how a zone plate is similar to that of a convex lens, how the functioning of a zone plate is similar to that of a convex lens. So now in the further lectures we will see how the convex lens is different from that of a zone plate. So we will look at the differences between the zone plate and the convex lens.